Hi, I'm Dr. Zac Cartun, the Chief Medical Officer and co-founder of Stride Souls, and today I'm going to answer some of the top questions that I get asked regularly through email. I'm going to go through them, I'll share my thoughts, and as always, please feel free to comment or follow up with us at team@stridesouls.com if you want to continue the discussion. So, the first question that I get is, why do the feet cause so many problems in the first place? Like, why is this such a focus area? Why is it something that so many people struggle with? Well, according to the American Medical Association, over 80% of adults, 80% experience quality of life reducing foot pain at some point in their life. That means that their foot pain is so bad that they actually have to change their normal daily activities in order to deal with the stress and pain that it's causing, which is no joke. Think about the amount of productivity hours that are lost. Think about the days that are not with friends or family, but are instead staying inside and not able to do the fun things that you love. And this isn't that surprising given that the foot is so complex. There's 26 bones, 33 joints, hundreds of different planes of tissues, and all of them have to work together smoothly in order to support your weight. And as we've discussed on this podcast many times before, the ground isn't very forgiving. We're constantly walking on really hard surfaces, concrete, asphalt, hardwood floors that our feet weren't designed to walk on. So instead, we have shoes that have a lot of cushioning, but that brings its own issues. For example, it allows you to do heel striking, step on your heels really hard, which normally shouldn't feel comfortable in bare feet, but with this big cushion, you're able to protect your heel. That is good in the short term, but in the long term, that extra pressure and continual kind of banging that happens up your heel goes up your kinetic chain and causes all sorts of problems in the future. So the feet, very complicated. Lots of kind of maladaptive things that have happened with the advent of different types of ground that we walk on in our shoes. And it's the reason that so many people struggle with foot pain. All right, next question. Is it true that flat feet or high arches automatically mean that you need orthotics? And of course, the answer is no. Um, all these sort of definitions of problems, flat feet, high arches, pronated gait, supinated gait, those are just ways that we classify what we see, what clinicians see when they examine a patient. It doesn't classify how the patient feels. So, first and foremost, orthotics are meant to reduce pain and prevent injury. And if you're not in pain, you don't have a super acute need or super urgent need for orthotics of any type. However, when people do have flat feet or high arches or other sort of foot abnormalities, it increases the chance that A, you're walking abnormally to compensate for the abnormal arch structure, and therefore you will have a higher chance of irritating the rest of your joints and getting injuries in the future. So it definitely does not automatically mean that automatically mean that you need orthotics. However, there are lots of benefits to orthotics from a preventative standpoint if you're not in pain. But if you are in pain, then I highly recommend changing something, not necessarily just orthotics, but considering physical therapy, different types of shoes, different exercises, things like this. All right. Can orthotics really change the way that I walk? Yes. In fact, that's one of the key purposes of orthotics, to make your gait more efficient. Now, it's not that the orthotic is necessarily going to change your foot in such a way that you are now able to, walk way differently. But imagine that you have, let's say, really severe heel pain. If you have bad heel pain, you're going to put most of the pressure on your forefoot and midfoot when you walk, and you're going to have this kind of shortened gait where you can't fully reach out your foot and land and can do a heel strike, but instead you're going to have to go a little shorter and land on your forefoot. Now, with an orthotic that distributes pressure away from the heel, you're going to be able to put a little bit more pressure on the heel and have a more kind of normal, full gait that you weren't otherwise able to do. And that's why so many people, upon using orthotics, not only relieve the immediate pain of, let's say, in the heel, but can help prevent or eliminate pain from compensation, from walking differently, that's putting more stresses and pressures on your back or hips. All right. Next question. Do athletes really get a performance boost from orthotics, or is that a myth? I'd say the answer is both. The myth part is that you're not going to put orthotics in your shoes and automatically have a faster 100-meter sprint. You're not going to be able to dunk a basketball. You're not all of a sudden going to be able to control a soccer ball like Messi or Ronaldo. However, it will be able to increase the efficiency of your gait and movement. So over time, you would expect that A, you're going to have less injuries, you're going to be able to run more effectively in a less fatiguing manner, and together that improves performance. Um, I see people talk about like those victory orthotics where all of a sudden they say they can jump way higher. There's no study that meets out this evidence, and I would sort of stay away from anyone that claims all of a sudden you're going to have, the perfect 18 holes of golf or the best run of your life. But you will see modest improvements. And there's a reason that all athletes, for the most part, wear them. If you go on any sort of NBA page and see what the athletes are wearing shoe wise, they end up always talking about the orthotics they wear as well. Um, and there's a reason for it. All right. Let's do one more question. Let's see. I'm going through all the questions that I get asked. Um, Oh, I think this is a good one. What's the biggest misconception people have about custom orthotics? So, I think many people assume orthotics are problems or solve problems in your feet. Foot pain, toe pain, metatarsalgia, plantar fasciitis, problems from flat feet, Achilles tendonitis. But if you have problems in your feet, that's sort of your base and ground, and those problems go up the kinetic chain. If the outside of your foot hurts, you're going to put more pressure on the inside of your ankle, which then puts more pressure on the outside of your knee, which puts pressure on the inside of your hip, and you can see that it goes all the way up. And if one side of your body hurts more than the other, you're going to walk asymmetrically. Asymmetries increase stress and tension all throughout the body. So custom orthotics, even though they do attached to your body between the ground and the feet, they can actually treat a lot of problems that are not just foot related. And a lot of people think that their lower back pain is, purely a result of sitting improperly all day. While I'm sitting at a desk right now, I agree that sitting is not good for your back if you're doing it all day without stretching. But a lot of the problems that we have to do with how we walk and the fact that we're heel striking. We're able to put so much weight on our heels and kind of the posterior chain rather than the front of our body. And custom orthotics do a great job of realigning your stance and making sure that you're balanced in the way that you move. So this is a fast one today, just me, but thank you so much for joining and listening in. And I look forward to sharing a little bit more next week about custom orthotics and any questions people may have about how we move. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.